Hi there, good morning. It is Wednesday, June 12th. Thank you for joining us for our KHOU morning update. We're running down some of the top stories that you're interested in, that you're sharing on our Facebook page, that you're clicking on khou.com. And I want to invite you to pose any questions or comments that you have about each story as we run through them. And we'll kind of circle back to talk about those on the back end of all this. But we're going to start with a story that's new this morning. We're talking about Operation Broken Heart, and I'm going to show you some numbers right now. So this is a 2-month nationwide effort led by 4,500 agencies, including Houston Police. They led the effort here in the Houston area. 1,700 arrests, just a huge number. 308 of those were related to child porn or child sexual abuse. This is awful. And 357 child victims of those crimes were identified. So just a huge operation nationwide led by the Justice Department with incredible results. Attorney General William Barr vowed to bring, quote, the full force of the law against sexual predators. So this is part of an ongoing effort to protect child victims and to crack down on those who are preying on them. So that's our top story on khou.com. We have a little bit more information. You can also read the release from the press release from the Justice Department if you click on over there. We're moving on to a story that broke last night, early evening. You can tell by the light in the video. That SUV there, it was involved in a deadly accident involving a 3-year-old boy. So mom was driving, she was backing out, police say, didn't see the little boy run behind her and hit him. He did go to the hospital, but he did not survive. This happened in West Houston in the 10,800 block of Richmond. Just so sad, and we've had multiple instances of this over the past couple of weeks. I don't know if it's because it's summer, because kids are just running around a little bit more, what the trend is that way, but I want to say this is at least the third maybe in the past 2 months where a young child was hit by a parent or a relative as they were backing out. So just a reminder to always be on the lookout, to move slowly. Houston Police haven't revealed much more information about that, but you can, again, find more information on khou.com. We now know when Maleah Davis will be laid to rest. That is a major question so many of you have had over the past few weeks, especially since, when her body was found in Arkansas. Now that a body was found, a lot of you said it was time. It was time for a funeral. Well, that funeral is set for June 22nd. It's at Richardson Funeral Home, but the family has requested that it's going to be private. And you're looking at the mugshot right now of Darian Vence. He is Maleah's stepdad, who is behind bars. He's charged with tampering with evidence, a corpse. He is the only person who has been charged in this case so far, but this is something else you guys have talked about so much. A lot of you want to know if Houston Police are looking into Brittany Bowens. So there is actually a change.org petition. We're going to pull that up. Check this out. More than 37,000 people have signed it, and it's calling for Houston Police to charge Brittany Bowens in Maleah's death. I don't know that this is really the role of a change.org petition. This is certainly something that Houston Police have been looking into. They've investigated everyone related to Maleah and their involvement. And no doubt, if they are looking at other people, charging other people, they would be trying to make the strongest case they can. So I just thought this was really interesting and was getting a lot of people talking. This petition, I've shared it on my Facebook and Twitter page if you're interested in kind of reading up on the case that's made for this. We're going to move up to Grand Prairie now. It's another sad story. So you're looking at a photo of Officer AJ Castaneda with Grand Prairie Police. He died last week when he was hit by a driver. He was on patrol. He was standing on a highway with his radar gun. A 17-year-old driver hit him and knocked him off the freeway, and he was killed. His funeral is set for tomorrow, but here's the thing. He has a fiance. Her name's Noemi Oroste. She lives in Peru. They've been together for a year, and she was trying to come up for his funeral tomorrow, but she's been denied an emergency travel visa. And so she's, actively trying to kind of lobby the State Department to please let her come and pay her respects. They, like I said, were together for a year. They traveled the world together, and she's not sure why she's not being allowed to come up and honor her fiance. That article is up on khou.com. Our sister station, WFAA, talked to Noemi if you want to hear from her. We're really going to take a turn here and go to Louisiana for just a weird story. I feel like it's an only in Louisiana story, although it could totally be Florida. So this baby right here, 8-foot gator in Caddo Parish. Officers responded. They call animal control to come and get this guy. And as they're waiting, take a look at what he does to the patrol car. Do you see the corner of the bumper? The gator just got a little hungry. I don't know. Got a little aggressive and took a chunk out of the car, and then it got away. So he's wandering out there somewhere with a belly full of metal. I can't imagine that feels very good. As far as the forecast, you step outside today, it's going to be just infinitesimally cooler. We didn't quite get the cool down that we expected yesterday. Clouds, it's like a giant blanket, keeps us warm for better or worse. But it is kind of lower humidity. It's nice. It's going to heat back up again over the next couple of days, according to Cheetah. So be prepared. Summer is here. So for those of you who said you were the Houston summer lovers yesterday, this is for you. We are entering your season. All right, now I want to go back over some of the questions and comments that you guys have had for these stories. I suspect a lot of you will have something to say about that change.org petition. And if there's anything else that you have a question about that we, maybe covered in H-Town Rush or that you've seen on khou.com, you can always ask a question about that as well. If I know the answer, I'll try to share that. I'll share that with you. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to get it. All right. Let me see how I can get this to work. Ran into the same thing yesterday. It's going to happen.
People generally seem pretty concerned about how many incidents we're seeing where children are dying over the last several weeks.
And it hasn't just been kids being hit by a car, so many drownings in the past few weeks as well. And I know that's something we see that number jump summertime. People are looking to cool off, more pool parties, but it's absolutely heartbreaking. Oh, Sunita, it mentions a comment that we've seen so often. It says Darian Vence is not her stepdad. They were not married. We know, but that is how he has been addressed by the family and by investigators from the very beginning. So we stuck with that. That is what Brittany Bowens, Maleah's mom, called Darian Vence. That's what investigators called him. So that's why we have continued to refer to him in that way. Yeah, a lot of you with comments about Brittany Bowens needing. Some of you say she needs to be charged. Why? I got it to work yesterday, and here we go. It's not working. Just trying to see your comments in a. Otherwise, they scroll through so fast, I can't see them. So I apologize. I am trying to make this work. I'm going to figure out. Well, I don't think I am going to be able to figure out, but I can see some of your comments as they're scrolling through. Markeisha asked, where do we sign the petition to have her charged? I have a link on my page, Brandy Smith, KHOU. If you go to that, it's I think that if not the top story there, the second story. I have a screen cap of the petition, and there's a link there that'll let you sign that.
Also, I think some people may have missed it earlier in our live stream, just when that funeral is and the circumstances.
Yeah, June 22nd is when Maleah's funeral is set, but the family has asked that it be private. So I know there's so many people in the community who want to pay their respects and who have shown up at vigils and dropped off, cards and flowers and balloons and stuffed animals to honor her memory. But the family's asking that right now they want their space to be able to honor her in a funeral. There's no word if there's going to be anything public for Maleah at this point. But we had the march on Sunday from City Hall to the jail. There was a vigil in Arkansas at the site where her body was found near Hope Saturday, the day before the march here. So there have been several public celebrations of her life and remembrances for Maleah. Jay asks an interesting question. They crossed state lines with her body. Couldn't they also be charged in Arkansas? No doubt that is something that prosecutors are probably weighing. Because you cross state lines, then it becomes a federal crime, especially when you're discussing transportation of a body, all of that. So we've talked about this before, and we have a whole section on our website dedicated to Maleah. It's khu.com/Maleah-Davis. That goes into moves that prosecutors and the defense attorneys have made for Darien Vence. One of the things the defense attorneys have already taken steps to do is get that confession or alleged confession by Darien Vence to Quanell X off the record, off the table. They've asked for Quanell X's cell phone records because they want to see if police sent him to Vence's jail cell. Alternately, prosecutors have asked for Vence's and gotten Vence's cell phone records because they want to see who else he was talking to since April 30th, which is the last day that we know Maleah was seen alive. So there's a lot at play right now with attorneys and prosecutors and investigators. And you think about, it's not just Houston PD. Houston PD is the agency that's overseeing all this, but this crime has stretched from Houston to Sugar Land, Missouri City, Arkansas. So there's a lot of different agencies involved. So I'm sure that's some of what's taking time.
A lot of viewers seem pretty upset that the funeral is going to be private. I think everybody wants an opportunity to be able to pay their respects.
Yeah, and I don't have an update on that as far as whether there will be something more public. Have you heard anything?
I have not heard, and also we have not been told what kind of access, if they want to let cameras into the service, or will is something that we will stream or show on air.
That's an interesting point, because sometimes an alternative to a wide open to the public funeral is to allow what we call a pool camera. So one news organization gets to put a camera in. It happens a lot for like court proceedings. So there's one camera person in, so it's less invasive, and then that person feeds the video to all the other networks. But we don't know if we're going to be able to do that. But that would certainly provide the public probably with more kind of closure. I think that's what people are looking for.
Absolutely.
They just want to be able to say goodbye to this little girl they were so invested in finding and they hoped would be found alive. And now that it's played out the way it has, they want to see justice, they want to see closure. I get it.
It's a lot about closure. People are still demanding justice. That's why we have this petition here. So there's still some ways to go.
Yeah. Brittany says we should do something as a community separate to say goodbye, and that is, I think in part that's what the march was about. There was a march on Sunday and then a vigil later that evening. When City Hall glowed pink, it was really powerful and pretty heartbreaking, but moving to see the community rally in that way. Not just here, like I said, there was a vigil in Arkansas the day before. People had driven from dozens of miles just to pay their respects to her, to bring, you know, a stuffed animal or flowers or cards or a little message to this.
I mean, there was a lot
of
people who weren't even aware of this situation and her story prior to, you know, that day when they found her in Arkansas, who have just been so touched by her story and the tragic sort of heartbreak of it, that have been come out and pay their respects.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, we've all known it and lived it since May 4th. May 4th is when Darian Vence showed up at the hospital and finally started talking to investigators and said that the day before he had been attacked. And then May 5th is when that Amber Alert went out. And that's kind of when the Houston public became aware of this story. And it did go national. But it's one of those things, if you're not super tuned in to news, especially news like this, can be really hard to read. I don't know that you were focused on it. I know my family back in Oregon had asked me about it. But yeah, folks all of a sudden it's a local story for folks living in Arkansas and all along that stretch up to Hope. Marcel says justice for this angel is the only tribute needed for this girl. The law can't fail her, period. And Marcel, I would argue that is why they are taking their time with this. I think they want to make sure that their case is solid, that they have all the evidence they need against whomever they want to charge, and that will take time. It'll take time. They have to go through all those cell phone records and really strengthen that case. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Jay asks, have they looked into numbers listed? We don't have those records. We do know that they've requested. Defense attorneys have requested Quanell X's cell phone records, and Darian Vence's defense attorneys have requested, or that's what Darian Vence's defense attorneys have requested, and then prosecutors have gone after Darian Vence's cell phone records, and they have them. We don't know what is in those documents at this point.
Yeah, that won't be made public, if ever, until a trial.
Until a trial.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's probably a ways out. But continue the conversation. I know this is something you guys are very passionate about. We're starting our morning meeting here, so I'm going to wrap this up. But thank you, everyone, for your comments and for tuning in. We'll be doing another update at 2:15 this afternoon. Have a good day.